Hello, I'm Angela McLendon. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I now reside in Las Vegas. Made a decision to relocate to the West Coast. Weather, cost of living were factors, and also I'm a travel nurse. I primarily work in California, although I am licensed in 16 different states. What led me down the path to nursing? My mother. Simply stated, I have several family members who are in the medical field, but primarily watching my mother's progression as a labor and delivery nurse, ER nurse, psychiatry nurse, travel nurse, blah, 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 made me want to follow in her footsteps, so to speak. I can remember being a kid and her teaching me PQRST, and every chance I had, I was writing it on paper, books, anywhere, and just trying to understand it. And it's those little seeds, planted by her early on, stuck with me and led me down this path. Um, my first job in nursing was working in a prison setting. I can remember being a nursing student, and when the instructor talked about all the different kind of nurses you can be, I laughed and got up and went to the bathroom when she got to talking about prison nursing, because I said, I'm never doing that. Are you crazy? No, she's not doing that. First job out of nursing school, you're a prison nurse. So, whatever. I was grateful after the fact to have the job, because I came out in that window where it was very hard for nurses to find a position because you didn't have experience. But hospitals didn't want to hire you, so how are you supposed to get experience? So that's something that I'm going to hold dear to me as I become a nurse practitioner and get into the position where I now will be needing to help inspire, motivate, teach, train, hire new nurses to remember my beginnings and how tough it was for me to get into this field. And it was a lot of times where I had to blaze my own path, so to speak, just to get a foot in the door, just to go down the avenue that I wanted so bad. I'll touch again on that a little later. But going back to the prison nursing, my mother was hired to establish transitional units in the jails in Philadelphia on Street Road. So her being there, having facilitated that, was my foot in the door to come in, work, learn, progress, and go very quickly from a baby nurse to a well-seasoned nurse. I can recall many events in the time that I was there. One in particular where I dealt with an inmate with a closed head injury. First night out of orientation, I remember turning around in a complete circle. There was no one there to ask any questions. So I had to figure it out. And I mean, it helped me to establish my critical thinking, time management, and learning to trust your gut on certain things that we deal with every day as medical practitioners or medical professionals or nurses. After working in a prison setting, I went to work in a traditional hospital setting on a stroke telemetry unit. After working in the stroke telemetry unit, I went to school on my own accord, on my own dime, and created an avenue for me to go into the OR, which is where I wanted to be anyway while I was in school. But the opportunity did not come for me until I made it happen. So I had to enroll myself in a perioperative 101 course. I was the last class taught by Dr. Rothrock, who is like the person who wrote the textbook for perioperative nursing. And it was interesting to learn under her leadership. She helped facilitate me securing my clinical location so I could meet the requirements for my certificate for the perioperative 101 course. So once I got myself established into an OR position and worked for about 2 to 3 years, and I progressed into travel nursing. And I've been working as a travel nurse slash somewhat private contractor ever since. And it's been an interesting journey. However, the industry or profession with respect to travelers, I feel like it's changing. It's like the harder we work, it seems like the less money we're making. But I know it's not just our profession, it's probably across the board for a lot of professions. But it's one of the motivating factors that inspired me to go back to school, increase my education, increase my experience, and create another avenue under the nursing umbrella. So, where do I see myself going with this in the future? Ultimately, like I said, when we, for some of us, when we got into this profession, it was hard because we didn't have experience, and facilities seemingly didn't want to give you a shot, give you your first chance, and it makes it hard for you to progress like you need to after you've made the sacrifice, after you've paid your money for school, after you've put in the time, after you've learned everything, after you've passed your boards. It's like you've done everything you needed to do, and all I need is one shot. So I want to be able to teach, motivate, inspire our youth and older to come into this profession and go as far as they can with their education and help us change nursing one nurse at a time for the better, especially if they are willing and able to go as high as a nurse practitioner and even attain their doctorate. I think that's ultimately what we should be doing as advanced practice clinicians. If you're capable of, we should all go for our DNPs if you're able to do that. I also would like to establish my own practice in time. Just long-term goal, putting the ducks in a row right now, trying to hopefully make that happen. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time.